Work is everything to me." Those words from my husband stirred my heart. I had been troubled for a very long time. With a husband who prioritized work over family, people were having a birthday party, surrounding a boy who looks to be about 4 years old, at a family restaurant I visited for a change of pace. While they were enjoying a delicious meal, joyful laughter filled the family restaurant. Looking at them, everyone would see nothing but an ordinary happy family celebrating the birthday of their only child. However, that's only if the father of that family isn't my husband who troubles me. My name is Trinity Walker. I'm a 32-year-old novelist. I mainly write mystery novels. Back when I was just starting out, I was unknown, but recently, due to word of mouth from bookstore staff, my latest work gained media attention. Though it's been a gradual process, I've started receiving opportunities for interviews. I met my husband, Brandon, who is a company employee, through a mutual friend. We've been married for 2 years. His family is doing well, and his father retired exactly a year ago. After that, it seems he's been enjoying a slow-paced life in the countryside with his wife. My father-in-law is a strict person, and my husband was raised quite strictly when he was little, so he seemed to be uncomfortable around his father. Maybe that's why he rarely talked about his family. As for me, I got along well with my in-laws, and they've always treated me kindly and cared about me. I loved both my in-laws and the town they lived in. The town where my in-laws live is a 1.5-hour drive from where my husband and I live, but I would often visit alone. My in-laws started farming as a new venture after retirement, and I helped out occasionally, which served as a refreshing change from my usual routine. Considering that I spend most of my work time sitting in front of my computer as a novelist, and that I tend to stay home while working, getting a good sweat from farming was a welcome change of pace. While working on their farm, I've talked to my in-laws about my husband before. My husband seems to be uncomfortable around his parents, but they always showed concern for him, asking me about his health and work. Seeing them like that, I knew that my in-laws truly cared about my husband. I also understood that my father-in-law raised my husband strictly because he loves his son and wanted what's best for him. Because I attentively listened to my in-laws, I believe I was able to build a good relationship with them. However, I have some concerns. One of them is that my husband prioritizes work over everything and completely neglects our home. I'm responsible for all the housework, and he pushes everything onto me. "Brandon, I understand you are busy with work, but can't you help with the housework a bit?" "Huh? I'm really busy with work. I don't have time for that. I'm working too, writing manuscripts every day. I'm not a full-time housewife, you know. But unlike me, you're always at home, right? You should have enough time to do these things. Still, it would be nice if you could help even a little bit. Anyway, you handle the housework. I know you often go to your parents' house. If you have time for that, you can do the housework, right?" He completely disregards what I say and insists that housework is something for people who stay at home. He now treats me like a housekeeper. And my other concern is that my husband has been displaying a cold attitude towards our son, Adonis, lately. Adonis is now 6 years old and he's in the playful phase. The other day, when we were inside the house, Adonis was drawing. I wondered what he was drawing, so I quietly looked from behind. It was a drawing of our family, me, my husband, and Adonis, all smiling and eating together. I couldn't help but hug Adonis. "Adonis, you're really good at drawing. yeah. I want to show this to Daddy when he comes home. Yes, yes, that's a great idea. I'm sure Daddy will be thrilled to see it. Adonis was eagerly awaiting his father's return. That night, when my husband came back from work, Adonis handed him the drawing shyly. Daddy, I drew a picture today. Here you go. Oh, yeah, that's good, good. Thanks, he said in an emotionless voice and returned the drawing to Adonis, after just glancing at it. Brandon, can't you say something more? Something like what? Adonis put a lot of effort into this drawing, you know? It's a picture of the whole family happily eating together. Oh, yeah, it's good. Adonis was really looking forward to showing this to you, you know? Yeah. So I said it's good, right? I'm tired. I just want to eat, take a bath, and go to sleep. I didn't know what to say to my son, who was listening to our exchange with his head drooping, while holding his drawing into which he had put a lot of effort, for a moment. My husband, who is now so cold, was different before we got married. He was kind, cheerful, and often smiled. He used to be someone who listened to me attentively. His attitude began to change about half a year into our marriage. Lately, he seems particularly busy with work, and when he comes home, he looks grumpy. He eats, takes a shower, and goes straight to bed. He had been going on business trips, and didn't come home more often these days. I had been debating whether to talk to my in-laws about it, but I couldn't bring myself to do it, thinking I couldn't inconvenience my in-laws, who always cared about both my husband and me. Then one day, as our son's birthday approached, I suggested to my husband that we have a birthday party for him. Adonis's birthday is coming in a week. I was thinking of having a birthday party for him. A week from now? Oh, I'm sorry, that day won't work. I have work to do. What? But it's your day off, isn't it? I have some work that needs to be done at the office. But it's Adonis's birthday. Can't you take the day off and celebrate with us? I'm sure Adonis is looking forward to it. No means no. I've been saying it for a while now, but I'm busy with work. I have a lot of responsibilities, and I have to handle a lot of tasks that won't progress if I don't do them. I'm not asking you to take a long vacation. Can't you make time for your family just for one day? You don't understand anything, Trinity. That's why you would say something like that. I have a responsibility to perform my job perfectly. I hate to say this, but what about your responsibility as a husband and a father? You keep saying that you are busy with work, but don't you have other responsibilities you have to fulfill before work? Aw, you're so annoying. Enough already. No means no. You should just organize the birthday party by yourself, inviting my mom and dad. With that, my husband went into the bedroom. I comforted our son and said, "Let's do some drawing together again soon," and put him to bed early. This can't go on. With that thought in mind, I headed to my in-laws' house the next day. They welcomed me warmly, just as they always did, despite my sudden visit. I tried to tell everything that had happened so far to my in-laws in my own way, but when I actually tried to speak, the words got stuck, and I couldn't express myself well. Is something wrong, Trinity? If there's anything, you can tell us anytime. That's right, Trinity, you're a part of our family. Their kind words filled me with gratitude. The things that had happened till now were going through my head one after another, and I wasn't confident to explain it all right then. I decided to take a little more time to organize my thoughts and feelings before telling them. Then one day, ding dong. The doorbell rang. A package arrived while my husband was out. I've been into online shopping lately. Balancing household chores and work was challenging, so buying things I liked had become a way to unwind. I thought it might be the item I had ordered. So I quickly opened the package. Inside, I found a children's toy. I immediately thought that it was a birthday present for my son. I was happy, thinking that my husband is trying to celebrate our son's birthday in his own way. I confirmed with my husband when he returned, "I've received a package, and when I opened it, it was a toy. Is this a present for Adonis?" He replied, "Oh, that? No, it's a gift for my boss's son." "What do you mean? It isn't for Adonis?" "No, it's not. You should buy a present for Adonis, something you think he'd like." After that, he said, "I have to go to work," again, looking flustered, and left. I saw him off, feeling disappointed, and wondering whether the present was really for his boss's son. My husband values his work greatly and places importance on his relationships with others. It wouldn't be strange for him to know his boss's son's birthday. While trying to reassure myself, I was filled with mixed emotions. A few days later, I was getting close to the deadline for the serialization I was working on. I was busy every day, facing my computer. My husband was going on a business trip for over a week, which meant a slight reduction in household chores, so I was putting extra effort into my work. After working from morning to evening and feeling a bit overwhelmed, I thought of going to a nearby family restaurant for a change of scenery. I wanted to have something sweet and refresh myself before getting back to my manuscript. Upon entering the restaurant, I took a seat by the window where the view was clear. I looked at the menu, contemplating what to order, and then I heard child's laughter coming from the table diagonally in front of me. It seemed they were celebrating a birthday, and the child was excited as he got a present. I couldn't help but think that I'd like to celebrate a birthday in such a simple and joyful way. As I gazed at the family, I took a second look. The person who was sitting across from the woman and child was undeniably my husband. My husband was talking to the woman and child with a big smile. At that moment, I realized everything. My husband had been having an affair with that woman. All his business trips and overtime had been excuses to spend time with her and her child. Even that toy. It was a gift for his affair partner's child. Everything he had told me was a lie. In a state of shock, I stared at my husband, his affair partner, and the child. They were oblivious to my presence. My husband was looking at the child, who was happy to have received the toy, with a warm smile. Unable to bear it any longer, I approached my husband's table and said with the most forced smile I could muster, "Happy birthday. What a lovely family you have." The moment my husband looked up and saw me, his face turned ashen. His affair partner seemed briefly surprised, but quickly smiled and said, "Thank you. We are having our son's birthday party today." As my husband's face turned pale and he looked down, I said, "Actually, I'm a novelist. I'm currently working on a story with a family theme. Would you mind telling me about your family?" "Is that so?" "Sure, I'd love to. Can you take care of him for a little while?" Yes. Of course." The woman readily agreed to my request. Meanwhile, my husband appeared even more cornered, with his face drained of color. Leaving my husband like that behind, we went to my table and engaged in conversation. I introduced some of my past novels, and it turned out that she enjoyed reading and had even read some of my work. Given the opportunity, we exchanged contact information. I told her, "I'll get in touch when the story inspired by what you told me today is finished." She returned to her original seat. My husband, pretending not to know anything, asked her, "How was it?" and quickly left the restaurant. After I left the restaurant, I headed to my in-laws' house. I told them everything about what happened at the family restaurant and the dynamics of my relationship with my husband. I texted my husband once I got home. He read my message, but there was no reply. That day, my husband never returned home. The next day, my husband finally returned. I confronted him about what happened at the family restaurant, but he kept feigning ignorance. Even at this point, he was going to hide the fact that he was having an affair. "You were at the family restaurant yesterday, with your affair partner and her child, weren't you?" "Huh? It wasn't me. I just came back today to pick up some work stuff." My husband, visibly irritated, stuck to his denial. Frustrated, I showed him my phone. "Can you say the same thing after seeing this?" That is." It was a picture of my husband with his affair partner and her child, happily posing together. "Where on earth did you get that, Trinity?" "Nayeli sent it to me." Yesterday, right after I exchanged contact information with my husband's affair partner, Nayeli, she sent me a picture of my husband. "No, it's not like that. We just happened to have gotten along at work and took a photo. Plus, we were just celebrating a birthday yesterday. It's not what you're thinking." My husband kept making excuses. Unable to reason with him, I turned on the voice recorder I had placed on the table. It played the conversation Nayeli and I had at the family restaurant the previous day. In the recording, she told me that they met through a mutual friend, that he had told Nayeli he was single, and that he had even gone as far as making promises to marry her. Nayeli, who was divorced and raising a child by herself, was looking for someone who would be there for her. "What do you have to say for yourself after hearing all this? Are you still going to deny it?" "Yeah, fine, I cheated." "I cheated. So what? What's the matter with you, being so defiant?" "Yeah, that's right. Nayeli's parents are loaded. I'm going to divorce you and marry Nayeli. I always saw you as disposable. The right time has come. That's all." My husband had a triumphant look on his face. Bang! At that moment, the door flung open, and my parents-in-law came in from the next room. "Dad, Mom, why are you here?" "That doesn't matter." "Are you kidding me? Brandon, how could you do something so terrible to Trinity?" I had already told my parents-in-law about the incident at the restaurant, and they were furious. "How could you do something like this to your wife and child? I don't remember raising you to be like this. First, apologize to Trinity. And to Adonis too." "Shut up! I'm not the bad guy here." "What did you say?" "I've been disciplined by you two so strictly since I was little. It was hard and suffocating every day. That's why I don't have a good image of family. Family and home just make life miserable." Because he was raised strictly by my parents-in-law, my husband had developed a warped perspective towards family and home. After my husband confessed how he had been feeling, my parents-in-law felt responsible and fell silent. But every time I visited my in-laws, they were worried about my husband more than anything else. So, I knew that they raised him strictly because of their deep love for him. "Every time I visited, they have been worried about you, you know?" What's the point of that now? Acting all saintly won't change anything. Without love, nobody would do those things. I raised my voice for the first time to my husband, who had warped values and kept saying childish things. If they didn't love you, they wouldn't have gotten involved with you and they could have just ignored you. But they didn't do that and raised you with all their hearts, because they love you from the bottom of their hearts. Faced with my strong words, my husband hesitated for a moment. Remember, you are still you. No matter what environment you grew up in and how you feel, that's irrelevant now. It's wrong to take it out on your own son. My husband couldn't say anything back to my words. By the way, I've told everything about this to Nayeli. What? You get easily shaken up, don't you? Yes, I told everything to Nayeli. How you lied to her. Then she was really angry and helped with various things like the photos. And I've also told Nayeli's parents about this. Her parents too? Of course. Did you know that her parents are lawyers? Lawyers? It seems like you didn't know that. Yes, her parents are lawyers and seem to have their own firm. It seems that they're quite angry, too, saying our child has been deceived. They're planning to sue you soon. That? My husband was trembling with a pale face as if he had been dropped into hell. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Please, can we start over? I'll apologize and do the housework. What are you saying now? Our marriage is over. Let's get a divorce. I declared divorce to my husband and told him that I will claim the child support and alimony. Subsequently, the divorce with my husband was successfully finalized. Just as I had announced, I claimed child support and alimony. Actually, Nayeli's parents helped with these matters. They introduced their lawyer friend to me, and I was able to sue my husband. He ended up buried in debt and now he lives a lonely life. Some days later, my in-laws apologized to me once again. They said that it was their fault that things turned out this way, because they raised him in a wrong way. But I expressed my gratitude to them. It's true that I was hurt by my husband's actions, but amidst the challenge of balancing work and family, the people who provided a supportive environment where I could catch my breath were none other than my in-laws. I intend to continue visiting them with my son from time to time. I'm looking forward to a new life with my son.